What's going on YouTube? So over the past months, we spent a lot of time with various versions of the Tacoma. However, it is now time to get our hands on the hybrid model. This is the iForce Max Hybrid, and not only is it that, but we also have the Top Dog TRD Pro model. This of course is built for going off-road. And let's go ahead and take a detailed full review of this model and see everything it's capable of. Now when it comes to the Tacoma lineup, there's really a lot of variations, and each trim level really has its own unique character. Once again, this is the TRD Pro, and that means it's going to be very tough in both its appearance and the actual functionality, of course. So up in the front, what we're going to notice is that kind of Toyota Heritage grille. That's the traditional style of just spelling out Toyota. I think that looks really nice. Everything is going to be finished in gloss black in terms of our centerpiece here, and then the outside edges of the grille are going to be body color. And then up here at the top, you have the hood scoop that really adds like a little splash of color up there. Really meaty look as well. Now down in this area, you have a nice rugged design going on through here. We do of course have the real metal skid plates for protection, and you do have recovery hooks down at the bottom. Now let's talk a little bit about lighting as well. In terms of that, we have the premium LED headlights. This is the arrangement that's going to come with the dynamic turn signal indicator and daytime running light. These are projector LEDs. We also have the Rigid Industry LED fog lamps. In addition to being very bright, these are customizable in terms of the color, which is a cool thing. Now you might have noticed underneath of the Toyota branding, you have a giant light bar as well. And then in terms of the ground clearance, let's talk a little bit about that. The TRD Pro is going to give you a bunch of ground clearance, 11.5 inches to be exact. And that's also going to be able to give you 35.7 degrees of approach angle, 22.6 for your departure angle. Definitely a very capable vehicle. And we'll talk just a little bit about the suspension here in a second. Now let's come to our wheel area. This is where you're going to find 18-inch black finish alloy wheels. As you can see, pretty dirty, as you should keep your TRD Pro right now. We also, of course, have 33-inch all-terrain tires, so these are going to be very good off-road. If you look beyond the tires, you're going to find the suspension pieces. This is a good point for me to talk about because, again, almost every single version of this Tacoma has a purpose-built suspension. With the TRD Pro, really a primary focus of this is kind of high speed, desert running, stuff like that. And because of that, you are going to have the Fox internal bypass shocks, which are best suited for that high travel situation. Now up top, we have our TRD Pro branding. And then of course you've got the nice gloss black finish to the mirrors, which still come with nice features such as blind spot monitoring and heating.
Now here at the side, you might be curious as to how you can get the TRD Pro. As you can see right now, we have the double cab version with the short bed. Things worth noting here at the side though, you might notice that we have a two-tone roof. I absolutely love the two-tone roof. It really spices up the design. That's a $500 option on this model. Now, as far as this paint color, I'll insert a text box of what this is called. However, do be aware you can get an exclusive Terra color that also looks really fantastic, especially when you pair it with the blacked out wheel surrounds. Now, heading around to the rear design of this Tacoma, for TRD Pro duty, it's just going to be a little bit more aggressive. So what you're going to notice is that we have TRD Pro stamped into the tailgate instead of Tacoma spelled out. And then down here at the lower area, we have a lot of matte black plastic. Of course, it's very dirty because this vehicle has been off-roading earlier today. Since we have the TRD Pro, we're also going to get rear recovery hooks in case you get yourself stuck in a little bit of a tricky situation. And then as far as the exhaust system, you are going to have a special exhaust system that goes out on the driver's side. It's actually a dual exhaust setup, and I have to say, it sounds really quite good. You wouldn't expect that out of a four-cylinder. Now, I do also want to point out for the hybrid model, which is standard on the TRD Pro, you do have a 6,000-pound towing capacity, which is a little bit less than the traditional gas version of this vehicle. Now if we open up the tailgate, this is a truck after all. You can see inside of here there's plenty of room for whatever you're going to need. As far as things worth mentioning, we do have a 2400 watt inverter here on the left side. That is standard equipment on this high-end model. Additionally, you do have the little sliding rails, so you can really use this to the maximum ability. Now, one of the things I also want to talk about is the fact that you have a side integrated button in the taillight. That's actually to open and close the fully power tailgate. So that's a really cool feature that we see here on the new Tacoma, is that it's a full power tailgate up and down, and you can actually just kick the tailgate and it will go ahead and raise itself. So that's a really cool feature that you get here on the TRD Pro. Now, of course, this TRD Pro does also come with all the safety systems because this is a high-end Tacoma. That's going to be all 4 of your active safety features. And I'm not going to delay the conversation any longer. Let's go ahead and get inside the cabin because there is a really cool interior color and some even cooler seats. So let's get to that. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's move on to the interior. Typical Toyota key fob. There's actually no branding on this key fob at all. And it does have a smart entry system, of course, because the TRD Pro. Let's take a look inside the interior here, though. There are definitely some cool elements to this interior, and since the first time we filmed the TRD Pro, Toyota has added this really cool seat design. Now, obviously you can see that it is red. That in itself is very cool, but that's really not the main aspect of this. Nevertheless, let's look at the front side first. We have a single piece sport bucket. Look how thick these bolsters are. These are really designed to hold you in place. We also have the tactical design underneath of the red perforation, and then you have TRD branding at the top, finished in carbon fiber. Now these seats do have some adjustability, so you can power slide this back and forth. You also have 4 ways of lumbar support. However, this is actually a fake button. You adjust the back manually with this knob. But let's open up the back door, because if I unlock the door so you can actually see it, this is where you can really get a good sense of what's so special about these seats. So these are called isodynamic seats. And these are basically an integration of an actual suspension into the seats themselves. It's a really, really cool design where you can actually customize these seats. You can say, am I off-road or am I on-road? And actually change the amount of pressure that these shocks can absorb for high-speed off-road situations. So, you know, if you do jumps and stuff like that, this is gonna help you be more comfortable when you do that. But I think it's time to just go ahead and climb inside and take a look at the rest of the cabin. Now, even though this is a hybrid, actually at startup there is a little bit of a growl, and we'll talk about that stuff more later, of course, with the powertrain. But over here on our door trim, I want to kind of begin by looking at some unique materials. This is a very elevated cabin for the Tacoma lineup, so we have, excuse the air conditioning here, we have some carbon fiber trim down here with TRD Pro branding. We have leather through the center, and leather along the top for your arm to rest against. We are going to have a hard touch plastic up here on the top of the dashboard, but we have the traditional Toyota branding running through here, more of the carbon fiber trim, more of the red leather. You have the nice handlebar for your passenger to hold on for dear life when you're going over all those jumps. And overall, everything does feel very solid, as you expect for the Tacoma. Now, in terms of other elements of the cabin, obviously, by and large, it is going to be similar to other Tacoma models, which we have covered very extensively on this channel. I'll just kind of run through, basically the highlights here. We are on a bit of a time restriction today. So you'll notice you do have the gauge cluster. It's full digital, really nice looking graphics, and they are special to both the iForce Max hybrid system and the fact that this is a TRD Pro. So we've got, extra off-road gauges there that will help you in those tight situations. We've also got a really nice meaty truck steering wheel here. We've got the perforated leather running around the outside edges, the center marker up there, and it's going to be manual tilt and telescoping. It is also heated as well. Now in terms of storage, that is going to be the same. So you have a good size console, nice storage up here, and a wireless phone charging pad. The shifter itself is colored a little differently. And you do have, of course, sport mode as well. And then you can, when you go into reverse, you'll see the 360 camera. This is going to be a trail camera. So we have all the extra options that will help you off-road. That's the front cross traffic working right there, but you have a lot of different views here for towing, checking what's going on in your bed, all types of things. So that's really nice. You also have an electronic parking brake, and then down below, you'll notice that we have just a ton of the drive modes. That's because you have a lot of different functions that you can go between in a very capable truck such as this. Now we'll just kind of move on from that. Here's the climate control, dual zone climate. Toyota gives you nice physical controls here. No touch screens or anything like that. We also have heating and ventilation. I'm very impressed to see that we have ventilated seats because these seats look so cool and advanced. A lot of times you'll lose features like ventilation, but you do still get that here on the TRD Pro. Very happy to report that. In terms of the sound system, this is going to come with the up-level JBL sound system. That includes the cool features such as the pop-out speaker that is rechargeable and portable. And then the screen is going to be massive. So even though we have the capability, we've got all the tech as well. So it's a 14-inch display. Dynamic navigation is on board. Wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay are also included. Now, if I flip that switch, we get the digital camera rear view mirror. And then we do have a standard size sunroof. So we've got all the goodies on board with this TRD Pro.
Now let's check out the rear seats. Now I'm not going to bore you with too many details because it's time for us to get out on the road with this TRD Pro, but I do want to point this out. So for those of you that are going to have adults here in the rear seat, the TRD Pro definitely hinders your rear seat legroom just a little bit. So this is Drew's 5'8" seating position. I'm 5'9", so by no means am I a giant or anything. And there's definitely not a lot of leg room. We're looking at about 3 inches of spare knee room is all. And trust me, if you bang your knee into the shocks, it kind of hurts. So you might want to be careful when you're in the rear seat area of this TRD Pro. The seat is really cool to look at, I will admit, but it is going to be a little tight. As far as the legroom figures, it's 33.7 inches for all other Tacomas this year. And as far as features, we do have cup holders, a power outlet, and 2 USB ports in the rear. But let's go ahead and get it out on the road. Well guys, here we are behind the wheel of the all-new Tacoma. We are in the iForce Max Hybrid version in the TRD Pro. There's a lot to show you here, and we'll be talking about all of those things, as well as a few other things, including getting our sound level reading in this test drive. But first, let's go ahead and start with a hard acceleration.
Continue on California 94 West for 19 miles.
All right, and there's 60 miles per hour.
Nice.
Granted, this is very much up a cliff. We are in Southern California, right next to the Mexican border, so lots of hills going through here, that's for sure. But it handled it like a champ is all I have to say. Oh, good Lord. Guess you saw that on camera. FedEx
Almost
must have paid for overnight delivery, that's for sure. Good Lord.
Yeah,
okay.
that's what.
Whew, okay.
It's not even Amazon. I mean, FedEx has been late every delivery they've ever brought to me.
I know. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, so this is the hybrid setup. So this is the most powerful Tacoma ever. So what we have on board is a 2.4 liter turbo 4-cylinder. It's not just any 4-cylinder though. This is spiced it up with electrical components. 326 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque. And I have to say, we've driven this vehicle around quite a bit so far on this program, and it certainly has a lot of pep in its step, that is for sure. When you put your foot down, you are going to immediately feel that 465 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually more than double what the previous V6 used to be. 70% more to be exact. So big gains in terms of torque especially, but overall the power, this is just, it's the most powerful Tacoma that they've ever made, and that particularly feels fitting in a TRD Pro because this is, you know, very performance oriented in the sense that where you can take it high speeds off-road, but even on-road like we're doing right now, having that extra power is going to be very beneficial in the day-to-day.
All right, and there is another little bit of an acceleration. A little bit downhill that time, but at least it was not straight up a cliff.
Yeah.
Gives you a little bit more of a taste of just how quick this new Tacoma hybrid system is. Another thing I do want to point out is the sound of this hybrid system. So that's something I was pretty impressed by. You know, I know a lot of people in the comment section are just so upset that there's not a V6, especially in kind of the high performance version of the Tacoma. I honestly don't think you're going to miss it. It sounds very, very similar to what you get in the V6 Tundra and Sequoia models, actually, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, you know, they definitely made the sound overall pretty throaty.
It may be fake, but you know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me though, because it sounds more macho and just kind of better overall. And then of course you got the performance, pushes you back in the seat. And you know, as far as the hybrid system is concerned, this is a performance hybrid system. It's a high performance hybrid system, and that means that the emphasis is put on that. And the overall transition between the engine and the battery, very seamless. You don't really feel that at all. You hear it a little bit, obviously, just because of the engine, but you know, I think overall that's going to be very seamless as well for people who maybe didn't previously have a hybrid or have no prior experience with a hybrid. This might be your first hybrid, especially in terms of pickup truck buyers, because there's not that many of those offered. I don't think the transition is going to be difficult in terms of changing from a V6 to this hybrid system.
Yeah. As far as other aspects of the powertrain, we do have an 8-speed automatic transmission. That's one of the other reasons why it's not going to be too bad of a transition, is the fact that we do have a traditional automatic on board. The performance in this transmission is really good. It gives you power exactly when you need it. And of course, with the TRD Pro, we are going to have 4-wheel drive, as you would expect to get that power routed to the ground. Now, as far as other things I do want to mention when it comes to the driving experience of this TRD Pro Tacoma, I will say when it comes to the on-road driving experience, of course you're going to have a little bit of body roll because this is a very off-road capable vehicle. That's really the way this suspension is tuned. However, I really like the ride quality. When you hit a bump, it soaks it up, as you would expect. Those big Fox shocks do a fantastic job of helping you when you're jumping on sand dunes and stuff like that, and it also does a fantastic job of helping you on on-road bumps and stuff like that. I also want to point out it feels quite a bit more maneuverable than the bigger brother Tundra. So if you're coming from that model, we've extensively drove that around in Kentucky, had it on loan several times, and I feel like this is a more maneuverable size for a lot of people, so I think you're going to like that experience.
Yeah, we actually, driving into this event today, we drove off camera a TRD off-road model, and I think this one feels like it rides better.
Yeah.
Some of that is also to do with the seats, because as we discussed earlier, we got a suspension in our seats themselves.
Yeah.
So they're cushioning us. The actual Fox shocks are cushioning us.
Lots of cushioning.
Yeah. And he's carving a little bit here, and it really holds me in place as well, because the aggressiveness of the dampers or bolsters, on the side of the seats. So really A+ experience even on the road. So I do like that, because I kind of expected it'd be a little bit more of an on-road penalty for choosing the TRD Pro. Now obviously it's not going to be like an experience like the Limited, which is always the most luxurious Tacoma, but it's still pretty nice.
Now, one of the benefits of the hybrid system is, you know, as you're going down a hill like that, the engine was off the complete full extent of the descent of that hill. So that's quite cool to have a truck that, you know, the engine is completely off as you're kind of driving along, and of course that's going to benefit your fuel economy. So Drew, do you want to tell them what the fuel economy is on this hybrid Tacoma?
Yeah, so specifically for the TRD Pro, you're going to be setting at 22 city, 24 highway, 23 combined. That's pretty impressive, especially compared to the previous generation. We have a lot more power and we have a lot better fuel economy. The previous generation was, I believe, under 17 miles per gallon for the TRD Pro, so big difference there in terms of that. Also, you can get the hybrid, or the iForce Max hybrid system with other trim levels, and it appears that that is not really going to change the fuel economy much. The Limited does get 1 mpg better combined versus this TRD Pro, just because it's not using all-terrain tires.
Now let's go ahead and get into our Airball and Slam Dunk. I'm going to kick us off with the Slam Dunk and say that I just really think Toyota nailed this TRD Pro. They've really done such a cool experience overall with this model. The seats are just the icing on the cake, in addition to the fantastic looking exterior design. They just absolutely knocked it out of the park with this TRD Pro.
However, you do have to pay to play, and that's really going to be today's Airball is the price tag. Now, obviously we haven't quite mentioned the price yet, but I'm going to spoil it a little bit and say it's a good deal over $60,000 as equipped, so that's expensive for a midsize truck for sure. I think all trucks these days really are giving people sticker shock. This is no exception, but you do get a lot for your money, so.
All right, and as we round this corner, I do want to go ahead and get our sound level reading with this hybrid Tacoma. I think I'll be able to get up to 55 miles per hour.
All right, looks like our lowest reading there was going to be 55.3 decibels. That's very respectable for sure. We are in California. I do want to point that out. We're on the media drive, so we can't control the fact that we're not on our local roads. But that is a good measure, I believe, for the semi-smooth Southern California road. But we don't have to guess how it compares to rivals, because you can always go to carconfections.com/sound level readings, and on there you can find all the competition for this Tacoma, as well as just any segment of vehicle, because we test out take a sound level reading for every vehicle that we test.
Including other trim levels of the Tacoma lineup if you are cross-shopping. And as far as last things to point out, I do want to mention the warranty: 3-year 36,000 mile basic, 5-year 60 powertrain. Toyota does also give you 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance.
Now, because of time restrictions, we were not able to take this TRD Pro off-road. There's just way too much. We just could not get everything done today. But obviously there are going to be plenty of videos on YouTube. You can watch this going off-road. Toyota had an excellent off-road course that we've heard from everyone else set up to really show off the capabilities. So make sure you check out some of our colleagues' videos that are taking this off-road. I do want to mention, of course, a little bit about the capability and some of the technology you have behind that. All the models will have a limited slip diff. TRD Pro, as well as the Trail Hunter and the TRD Off-Road and Pre-Runner, will come with a locking rear diff as well. And then we also have front stabilizer bar disconnect standard, and what that does is allow for an extra 4 inches of clearance, basically, or not clearance, but for the wheels to touch the ground, you know, giving you more traction. So those are important things that are really help make this a very, very capable truck off-road.
Now let's talk about pricing. So this TRD Pro Tacoma isn't going to come cheap. You can see all the prices for all the Tacomas on the screen right now. However, the TRD Pro sits atop the Tacoma lineup. So we're going to start at a little over around $63,000. Once you add in destination, the optional two-tone paint, we're sitting at $64,400 as tested today. And if you're looking to buy a Toyota Tacoma or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, why you do that is because there's a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. We also have a pinned comment at the top of this video. And now it's time for us to talk about reliability and potential resale value to make sure you are making a smart purchase. Now, as an economics graduate myself, I understand the importance of resale value, so let's go ahead and dive into that first. Now, Toyota as a brand is rated as the second highest resale value when it comes to both our 5-year and 10-year metrics, which is very impressive. I also want to point out that the Tacoma specifically is one of the highest resale value vehicles that money can buy. We don't have the exact percentages on a model by model basis. However, I can tell you that this Tacoma has amazing resale value. So that's something certainly to consider, more so than just that sticker shock of that initial price. There is very high resale value on the table, that is for sure. Now, when it comes to reliability, Toyota also nails this on our combined reliability index, which takes into account a lot of different trusted automotive sources when it comes to reliability data and combines them all into one metric. Toyota is actually ranked #1 on our combined reliability index. So that's also something to consider when you're looking to buy this Tacoma, especially when you're comparing with different vehicle brands. And guys, that's going to be it for our in-depth review of the all-new 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. If you enjoyed learning about this TRD Pro as well as the hybrid system, please hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, not only are you going to get more car reviews like this, you're also going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We do a lot of car reviews and we have a lot of fun on this channel. I'm sure you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.